Get these guys' faces on there. Get these guys. So here we are in Hall 4.0. Good morning. Great to have you here. I'm going to introduce you in a moment, but a little bit of an introduction into where we are. We're at the HBK Saarland University, Hochschule, oder?
Yeah, we are Hochschule.
And please introduce yourself, the school itself, and a little bit of what the project, what we're seeing behind us here.
Okay, hello, I'm Thorsten. I'm a product design student, and it was a product design student project. We were 10 students, and the project was about half a year long, and it was about class and finding new ways of interacting with class and finding new techniques in this very traditional handmade process.
Because I mean, glass as a material has been around for thousands of years. I think 2,000 years before Christ, and the Egyptians were the first to start experimenting with like blow molding and actually putting air space in between the glass and things. So, can you explain a little bit the connection with, I'll say, the heritage of the process, and how did you guys start? Where did you start from?
At the beginning of the project, we were 2 days in Meisenthal. It's in France. Everything was blown there, and then we did our first experience to get the material known, to get some different impressions.
Can I touch it?
Yeah, sure. No problem. How the material behaves. And at the beginning, we just used everything we could find in the workshop, from tongues to bricks, and just combined everything and looked what was happening. Because it's a very short time of period where the glass is like soft and you can form it, so you have to use your time.
And this one over here?
For example, here, a CNC mill was converted so it could lay down wire in these kind of structures. Through this process, you could build the whole form in the computer, and afterwards the glass was blown directly into here. For example, this shape here gets this glass object.
Wow.
I experimented with different kinds of wire. Here, for example, I tried to get some color into the glass. And here, for example, you can see the traces of copper wire in the glass. On the top of the glass there was brass wire, which also worked very good because it oxides a little bit and then the glass doesn't stick to the metal. That was a very big problem. You really had problems with that because you can see even on tiny wires, if there isn't any coating on it, you get like little chips,
yeah,
which break out then again.
Wow, the little chips, I can see it now, yeah. Maybe we can see it on the camera, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but even if something didn't work, you got to know the material better. And
you learned, yeah. Again, that's what the whole design process is about, isn't it? You do things, you learn, and you implement that in the next generation or the next mold you build.
Yes.
So when we walk around here, I look at this mold here and I think to myself, wow, there's a lot of engineering in that, isn't there? The glass object itself is beautiful, but can you say a bit about the engineering behind this very, very incredible mold?
Yeah, it looks like it is a lot of work to adjust it, but it's just because the university paid for the glass blowers, but for the molds we had to pay ourselves. So we had to find affordable ways how we could produce the molds. Here the idea behind this is that you have a program and he can say, okay, I want like a cubic shape, and then he tells him how he has to adjust which rod. So basically if you would put a motor on each rod, you could fully automate.
So he actually he programmed in the 3D program to work out which position these things need to be, and then actually built the steel construction and just obviously manually adjusted this. But you're saying it could be automated?
Yeah, fully. It's all you just would have to put motors in it and connect it. The rest is already completely done. The program stands. It was written in Grasshopper. It's a plugin for Rhino. That's the 3D program.
Rhinoceros 3D Construct, yeah?
Yeah, genau. That's the program we are working with. And you have so many varieties of different shapes you can get out of this form. And you could even like personalize it or have your own individual wishes.
So we've seen the wire molding, we've got this very, very big steel type of molding. Can you say a bit about materials of this mold here as well? Or is it that looks very, very industrial, like there's a bit of aluminium in there? Is it ceramic, or what's the material there?
Yeah, the top and the middle part, the threads, they were milled in aluminium with a CNC, and the other parts, they are plaster molds together with fire clay, so they don't crack that easily. You can use it like 5 to 6 times. That's pretty good. Enough. And here the main idea behind this was to combine like the very industrial CNC milling, but also get glass blowers, give them some freedom how they can interact with the glass themselves. For example, they can widen the glass up here, or like you can see here, they can do like where the water can flow out.
Now, if I turn around here when we go for a walk, you've obviously got the type of digital conception from manufactural processes. You actually, I like the idea of creating in 3D first to do a bit of testing and then going to manufacturing. We've got a video here actually of a few of the things. Can you tell us a bit about what we're seeing here?
Yeah, for example, this was one of the first tests where we just used the bricks, everything we could find in the workshop. And here you can see it cracked a little bit, because when the glass starts to blow out and it gets too thin, it cools down too quickly and the tension in the glass gets too big. Here you can see this is before it gets blown into the mold. He does like a basic shape for the glass, and then he puts it into the mold and blows it up.
Okay. There's that mold, great.
Yeah, exactly. Here you can see it. And then in the end, you can see it here, but when the glass blower is finished, he taps with the foot once, and then you have to pull everything apart quickly so he can get it out. And afterwards...
So if there's manufacturers here, especially in Hall 4 or somewhere else in the Ambiente, they should come by and see you. Would that be something you would welcome?
Yeah, sure. Come by. We have a newspaper. There's all the contact in, and we can tell you about every project here. It's very nice. We try to find new ways of interacting with the glass and combining the very old handmade traditional techniques with the new 3D printing techniques and all the digital fabrication methods.
And I think my last statement here would be sort of you guys have learned during the process. You've obviously got the lost mold here in the form of the wood, can be used once, and obviously you've done some experiments with different technologies and different materials of the same type of construction. I think that's very, very interesting.
Yeah, for example, here if you use these chip materials, you can easily do many experiments, and here you have a fixture and you can put the layers in different heights, so you have also one mold and many different possibilities.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate the great work, and keep it up, and good luck with the rest of the fair. We're going to go and check out some of the other areas around the corner here, the talents area. Take care. All the best.
Bye.
See ya. That was impressive. We did get a bit stuck there in the details, but I think that's why the area is so interesting, because there is so much to see and touch and learn, even for some of the bigger manufacturers who have been working with these processes probably for hundreds of years. They're aware of how to make things in mass production, but maybe some of the ideas that these young, fresh thinkers have brought to the game might inspire the next generation of glassware, blow molded glassware. Now, to take that to the next level, there's another area in 4.0 where you've really got the talents area, where you've got everything from batch production through to actually small experiments with glass in batch production, but actually some relatively mass-produced objects as well. We've got a lady here who we can go and have a quick chat with as to who you are and what you're doing here. And Ben Wilson from Ambiente Facebook Live team. Sorry about that. Can you say a few words about why you're here and how's the show been for you?
Yeah, the show so far has been really good, and we're here because we got what do you say? Actually, it was London Design Fair. We talked about how we actually got inspired to apply, and it was London Design Fair.
Oh. So London Design Festival or London Design Fair?
Design Fair. We were having this work here that is by George William Bell on display in the school stall, but so London Design Fair said that we could apply to here.
Well, congratulations. I really love the work here. We've got a lot to get through, but so all the best for the rest of the Ambiente, and good luck with the next generation of designs. Over here we've got some, I think we've come from the glass world. I think it's about the material combinations here and experiments with materials. And here we've got two very, very similar stalls where materials have been combined in a certain way. We've got one of the designers here as well. Maybe we can say a few brief words about her design here. But I really just love the idea of the ceramic combined with brass, I take it. And who are you? Where are you from? And what are you doing here?
I'm Barbara. I'm from Austria originally, but I applied for this fair. And I think they like my stuff, and really I'm excited to be here on this exhibition to show my work, yeah.
And have you met any great people at the Ambiente 2018?
Yes, of course, yeah. I mean, most of the time I was here for explaining my project, but there were a few interests. Yeah.
Good. Well, all the best for the rest of the show, and good luck with everything. So when you look at the larger bowl, the porcelain or ceramic combined with the brass, over here you've got another brass example combined with ceramics, but the aesthetic itself is very, very different. The use of different surface treatments. I don't think there's actually one of the designers here from this one, but we can just interpret it ourselves. I think the raw material, which is back here, treated with the different types of oxidants, the aesthetic changes completely. Even the colour of the base appears to look different with the different types of lids. Very, very unique material experience. Again, that colour we saw a lot at Dyck, the partner country area. And here we go, we've got Laura Görs. Actually, we met her on Friday briefly at the German Design Awards. Congratulations again. Hopefully the party was good to you. Can you maybe say a few things about your work and also how the Ambiente 2018 has been for you?
Mm-hmm. I'm working a lot on tableware and tabletop. I always like to work with the sensual experience of food. So I connect like old traditional techniques with new ones. For example, here you have the Salé collection, and it's inspired by oyster shells, by the structure of oysters. And this actually is porcelain, what is colored, and the molds are CNC milled. So it's like a combination of old and new techniques. What I'm doing. And
the glossy and matte, can you tell us a little bit about that too?
Yeah, it's one part is glazed, the other one is unglazed. It's just for the sensual experience in your mouth, because this is a spoon, and when you put it in your mouth, it feels underneath. It is unglazed, so it feels a bit rougher, but it's still very soft because you can polish porcelain. It's not like it's still a good feeling, and I just like the contrast between it.
Well, I wish you all the best for the rest of the Ambiente 2018 and every step of the way into the future, your design journey. Take care. As we walk around here, again, glass, porcelain, ceramic, combinations with metal and stuff. And this gentleman over here has actually done a few interesting experiments. I've never seen anything like this before. Good day, Isaac, I take it?
Yeah,
and
I'm Isaac.
Can you please maybe say a few words about who you are, where you're from, and what your very interesting objects on the table here are all about?
So I'm Isaac. I'm a Belgian designer based in the Netherlands, and last 2-3 years I've been working on a technique which allows me to grow natural crystals in the studio. So what I do is I dissolve a mix of minerals in water in a big tank, and I heat it up, I make it very warm, and then slowly let it cool down. And during that cooling process, the minerals are transformed into crystals.
Can we pick one up?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Can you pick one up? Not, I'm too nervous.
So yeah, I make design objects out of them. You could also call it applied art. So what I do is I suspend an object in that tank, and it crystallizes around the object. And then you get, for example, these vases, but I make a variety of objects out of it, going from brooches to vases to covering complete walls with the material for hotels and restaurants.
And where did you're an industrial designer, you're a designer, where did the interest for chemicals and chemical reactions and minerals come from?
Well, I've always had like an interest for weird materials, for manipulating materials, and the research for this project comes from stalagmites and stalactites. I was fascinated by them and how they grow, and I wanted to try to grow them myself, and I ended up growing crystals.
Very, very cool. And the color inside is, I think how would you describe the intention behind the color inside?
So I can do two things. One of them is changing the color of the crystals themselves, and I do that by changing the ingredients. Depending on the minerals I use, the color changes. And for this particular vase that I'm holding, it has a latex rubber coating on the inside. Yeah, it's neon color, and it really pops with the white crystal.
I love it. Well, all the best for the rest of the Ambiente 2018. Lovely to meet you. The last stand here is again finishing with ceramics, and again the experiments this gentleman was doing was what ingredients can he put inside of the ceramics to achieve a different aesthetic. If I'm correct, these were peas you used to put into the ceramics, correct, in the outside edge. Yes. And what was your name and whereabouts are you from?
I'm Daniel van Dyck. I'm from the Netherlands, situated in Den Haag, and I work with different kind of materials like ceramics, glass, metal, but also textile and everything what you can work with materials. And I like very much to experiment and show the quality of it. So as you told, like this one is a vase, and I use a combination of porcelain and chickpeas. The chickpeas stay sticky on the side, and then later they've been burned out, and I use it as like kind of a decoration. The nice part of it is every time when I redo it, it comes a little bit differently, so everyone knows they have their own unique face.
They're very unique. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time. Have a great show, 2018 Ambiente. Great that you're here.
Thank you very much.
So we'll sign off there in the talents area. Please come by 4.0 right back in the left-hand corner when you walk in from the point of experience area, the hallway. It's one of those places where you can just get a bit of inspiration. If you're a big manufacturer, come down and meet these guys. Maybe one of your next designers is in the midst here. Take care. Have a great, it's 10:15, coffee time. Take care. Bye.